And we're live.
Amazing.
Yeah, see how simple technology makes things?
This is out of my field. Like, I've never done anything like this. So thanks, Ray, for setting it up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I only know how to work it because I did reading sprints with Z, and she kind of like talked me through it.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to jump straight in or do we want to wait a bit?
Can you see how many people are here?
2 so far. Hi. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Steph.
Oh, hello.
Maybe like give it a few or something.
Yeah, let people come in.
Yeah. Yeah, like people grab the wine.
We have so much to talk about today.
I know. I only have I only physically own the Six of Crows duology and Rule of Wolves. So everything else I read on my iPad. So I was going through all my notes and because I don't have to actually write anything, I have over 100 notes for all three of the Shadow and Bone books because it's so easy to just highlight and be like, "You're so dumb."
Yep. Sounds about right.
Going through everything again, I'm like, "Oh my god, this was completely unnecessary."
So did you just write that for every time Alina talked, or?
Basically, and then I think in Siege and Storm, every single time I've read the word gorgeous, I'm like, please gouge my eyeballs out. I'm over it.
I hate Siege and Storm so fucking much.
Oh god, yeah. And now I'm curious because we mentioned in the chat that I liked Rule of Wolves a little bit, and you guys did.
Okay, we'll let you know when we start talking about King of Scars if you want to jump out at that point. We don't want to ruin it for you if you plan to read it. Yeah, you have some explaining to do.
Yeah.
I feel like Cersei would be with the bell of shame behind her when she's walking. It's just both of you are like, shame.
I did not expect that. Out of the three of us, I expected you to hate it the most.
Honestly, I did too. You can actually see where my flagging stopped because I just was like, I'm kind of enjoying it, I don't hate this.
I actually don't have words because I'm just so shocked.
Right?
I'll explain myself, I promise.
Of all things, I just, wow. All right.
I have reasons.
So I have a very important question. Do you pronounce it Grisha or Grisha?
I always say Grisha.
I say Grisha.
I say Grisha too. In my defense, though, the first time I read Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone, I listened to the audiobook. And so I always thought it was Grisha. And then I started watching everybody else's stuff, and almost everybody says Grisha. And I was like, wait, am I wrong? So I looked up a video of Lee Bardugo, and she says Grisha. So
okay. I mean, I trust her.
I mean, so
I figure I'm pronouncing everything wrong, so
fair enough. That's why I just do audiobooks.
Fair.
But I've heard audiobooks have really weird pronunciations for things sometimes. I don't trust them all the time because they'll take a completely normal name and just butcher it.
Oh, for sure. That is a fair point. But the narrator who does the GrishaVerse, she's actually really good. There was one. So Six of Crows has a full cast in it, which is cool. But because we don't get Wyland in the first book, the voice actor for him is the only one that pronounces the H in Matthias. And I was like, can you please stop doing that?
You would think they would coordinate, but
I would think they tell. Yeah, I feel like they should tell you how to pronounce things ahead of time, but apparently they don't do that.
I think the first time I read Six of Crows, I did also listen to it because that's when I was trying Audible out. I was like, oh, I got my credit. Let me try Six of Crows because it's this was when I was just getting into BookTube, and it was everywhere. So I was like, okay, like let's see what the hype's about. And I couldn't remember a single thing after having listened to it. I literally was like, did I even read this? I don't think so. Like it was good. The audiobook itself was good, but
Yeah, it is.
not the best way to experience it.
Probably not.
Did you listen to the audiobook for any of the other books in the GrishaVerse?
Yeah, so the first time that I read Shadow and Bone, I did audio. But Shadow and Bone and King of Scars, they don't have the whole cast. It's just Lauren Fortgang, but she's like a really good narrator, so I liked it. And I like that she did like different voices for like Nikolai versus Nina, or like Zoya has an accent, but she's like the only one that has an accent. But yeah, I really, really liked her. And she was also still in Six of Crows. She did the voice of the Nej.
Okay. What about you, Robin?
I did it for Rule of Wolves because it was the only way I was going to get through it.
Mood. Okay.
Fair. That is 100% fair.
Okay, because yeah, that like I said, the only time I'd ever listened to any of the Grisha books was like my first time listening to Six of Crows. So you guys are the authority on audiobooks when it comes to this, I guess, because I don't have that experience.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Why don't we get started with the Shadow and Bone trilogy?
Perfect. Okay, well, why don't we all just complain about it the whole time? Because I don't think any of us liked it that much.
Go ahead, Ray.
It's funny because like the first time I read it, I remember like really enjoying it, like all of it, the whole thing. And then when we reread it, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yes. So I had only read Shadow and Bone. And so I remember like, I love this. I think I gave it like 4 or 5 stars the first time. And then I reread it and I was just like, all of this happened? Why? Why is this a thing?
I remember you were telling me, Ray, that this was one of the first fantasy series you've ever read, right? So
Yep.
do you think that might have been why you thought it was like
I think
so amazing?
I mean, like, aside from reading Harry Potter for the first time, like I started reading that series when I was in the freaking first grade. So, you know, and then I didn't really read fantasy after that. I read a lot of romance, a lot of Nicholas Sparks, which is probably why I hate romance. And then I read a lot of contemporary. So I like stayed away from fantasy for so long. And then I read this and I was like, whoa, this magic system is so cool. And rereading it as an adult, I was like, oh God, what was I thinking? Yeah, that is, yep, that's accurate.
You should be worried.
Okay, why don't we do like a spoiler-free section for those two though, just to like quickly, because now I feel bad that like I don't want to like all of us to sit here and just shit on it and like discourage people from reading it.
Yeah, it's like I wish I'd do that in my reviews. Like I'll talk about it and like do spoiler free, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. So we definitely don't want to discourage anyone from reading King of Scars and the Rule of Wolves, but we will give you like a brief synopsis, and then y'all can hop out because we definitely don't want to be the ones to ruin it for you or dissuade you from reading it.
Yeah.
You had a hard time getting into Shadow and Bone. I thought that one was at least interesting from the beginning. I think because I was just interested in the magic system anyway.
I think that there's something really special. Like overall, I didn't love that trilogy, but I feel like it's really interesting how much there was a focus on the Grisha that we didn't see in Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, because like those were the first ones I read personally.
Yeah.
So like I got used to kind of the focus on like Ketterdam and the crows and kind of the general, I guess, world rather than the Grisha. So I actually really liked in Shadow and Bone how much we talked about like the Grisha orders and like learning how they back their, like they call it the small science. And I thought that was really, really cool personally.
I agree.
Yeah. I think this is probably the only like series in the world, the Grisha world, where we kind of really delve into the details of what Grisha are. I think everything else is like, you should just already know. But like this one, you really get to like know backstory and how things kind of evolved. So I appreciate the series for that.
Yeah, for sure. If you could pick which Grisha order you would be in, what would you choose?
Ooh.
I would definitely pick Corporal Kai. I think it'd be really cool to be a Heartrender.
Yeah. I just, personally, the ability to like kill someone, stop their heart, like.
I think Fabricator's pretty cool. I feel like it's like underrated in the series.
I agree. That's for sure.
I feel like that would be kind of like a more useful one, other than the Corporal key.
Yeah.
For sure. Although I do like, I thought it was pretty interesting because again, I read Six of Crows first, so I already kind of knew like the idea of tailoring and all that, but I found it kind of interesting how in Shadow and Bone you learn that Jenya was kind of one of the first ones to really do that craft, and she was kind of like the person that started doing that. And it's cool how you see that become like people further down the line kind of exploring their Grisha abilities and like doing things that they didn't really think were possible because they were confined to their order. So I think it is cool how much you can kind of go outside what like you think is the little box of the power.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll get into this box of power. But
well, anyway. I enjoyed the first book in Shadow and Bone. I think the one that I rated the lowest was Siege and Storm. I hated that book. I think that Nikolai carried that book on his back 100%. And I think I rated Ruin and Rising the highest because I felt like the ending was like, I felt like it was decent, but like I also wouldn't have been mad if Mal died. So,
I kind of wanted Alina to die too, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been mad if both of them were just like done. Like that's just how it ends. I feel like a lot of YA fantasy is just too happily ever after.
Yeah. It's funny that you rated Siege and Storm the lowest because I rated that one the highest.
Why?
Hear me out. So after rereading and downgrading Shadow and Bone, the first half of Siege and Storm was really slow, I'm not gonna lie. But the second half really got me. And I was like, okay, this might go somewhere. And so I had hope. And then Ruin and Rising happened and I didn't. So
okay. And this is very like y'all know me, so like how I am with certain things. I feel like Siege and Storm had every YA romance trope that you could possibly imagine, and I just wasn't here for it. Also, I already don't like Mal, and I feel like he was just a whiny bitch throughout that entire book. And then Alina was like confused, and I'm just like, girl, make a decision.
But I mean, can you really fault Siege and Storm for Mal being whiny when he was whiny throughout the whole series?
I felt like it was more so. I feel like it was more so in Siege and Storm because I feel like a lot of the times in Shadow and Bone, it's like Alina working on her power and stuff like that, and Mal isn't there. So I felt like it was more present in Siege and Storm, and on top of that, like with Nikolai being there, like he was just so fucking insecure and jealous the entire time, and it's like, you suddenly have these feelings for Alina when you've been ignoring her your entire lives and sleeping with every other girl you've ever met. But now all of a sudden that she has the attention of other people, now you want her for yourself. Wait, we have a question. Absolutely not.
I would literally call myself just straight up like I'm almost an Alina fan. Like I actually don't even hate her character that much. I know she's annoying. She's got a lot of girl hate. She's got a lot of like ridiculous, I'm not like other girls tropes. But I thought she was at least an interesting character. And I was rooting for her to be like, fuck you all. I am a powerful ass Grisha and no man is going to ever stop me from doing what I feel like I want to do. And that's where I was really hoping it was going. Like I didn't hate her that much. I thought that like her stubbornness and her impulsivity were actually kind of interesting for like a YA heroine where they're usually kind of like careful or like kind of, like, oh, I want to do this, but like, I actually thought she was kind of interesting. And so I would be okay if both the Darkling and Mal like didn't even exist in the book.
I agree. I feel like it could have been like a Katniss situation, like I don't have time for any of you. I'm gonna focus on me kind of thing. I feel like that would have been fine, but of course, like no. Instead, we have like a weird love square happening, and I was just like, this is too much. Like none of this needs to be here.
I liked the Darkling in the beginning as a villain. And then as it went on, his villainness it became terrible. I was like, you're a terrible manipulator for someone who's lived forever. And like, I don't love him as a love interest, period. Like that shit was crazy and dumb. But as a villain in the beginning, he was good. At the end, he was a bitch and I didn't like it.
Yeah. I feel like if he had strictly stayed a villain instead of like trying to seduce her multiple times, I would have been cool. But like, I felt like, you know, when they had that weird little power thingy and they could like see each other, like that was really weird. And I felt like he would literally threaten her and then immediately like try to hug or kiss her. And I'm like, what the fuck are you? You literally just threatened this girl's life and now you're trying to kiss her. And then the part where she's asleep and he like kisses her awake, but she thinks it's Mal. And I was like, bro, that is such a violation of privacy. Like, can you not? Like, this is so weird. And you're like 130 and she's 17. Like, can we, like, you're older than Edward Cullen. No.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that Leigh Bardugo was trying to make a point with the Darkling that like sometimes beautiful people who seem to have good intentions can be really manipulative and like you can't even really qualify. Like he didn't really love Alina, he wanted to manipulate her. But I'm like, I feel like the plot got lost when you tried to make him a love interest, and the fact that a lot of people fell for it, and there's like Darklina shippers.
Yeah, like
Something went wrong.
Great Darkling fans, and I'm like, what is wrong? We'll get to King of Scars. Don't you worry. 5 million year old. It's weird. It's really weird. And like, I don't know, that particular trope where like there's this ancient creature that is like 1 million years old, but still somehow looks young. And then literally every time it's like a 17-year-old girl. And I'm like, why is this a thing? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was weird. But I'll say like he did it. I mean, for Alina, it probably wasn't weird because in her mind, she wasn't like seeing this old decrepit man. She was just like seeing, you know, someone who looked her age. What really pissed me off was that he was 1 million years old. He's lived 1,000 lives and he cannot manipulate this one 17-year-old insecure girl to like do what he wants.
Like she was probably like super impressionable, and yeah, he couldn't get it right. And why'd she ever reciprocate? Who knows? I think it's in Ruin and Rising where there are like 2 instances where she uses the power to go see him, and I was like, why the fuck would you do this, you weirdo?
I think it was like the pretext of like, oh, I'm gonna go spy on him, but like you just want to see what he was up to. You were literally being jealous girlfriend, going through his phone and looking at what he was up to, straight up. That's all it was.
That is the perfect way to describe that. That's basically what happened. He's so weird and creepy. And it's like, how are you? Go ahead.
Oh, no, mine's kind of unrelated, but like, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, how are you so old? You've had to fake your own death multiple times, and you still, even when you did get the throne, you fucked it up. Like, just give up at this point. You're not gonna get what you want.
Just stop. I was just going to say, do you think that this book could have maybe benefited from more along the lines of Six of Crows and Rule of Wolves, where it wasn't strictly in Alina's perspective? Or do you think this was really supposed to be, and it worked better as Alina's story?
I understand why it was strictly from Alina's perspective, but I think if we had gotten inside the Darkling's head in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, I think that would have been beneficial to maybe like me not hating him so much, because there would be a reason behind what he does. But But then again, like, I also think, like, he always says, like, you know, he wanted to protect the Grisha, but then, you know, there were some who realized what he was doing, and he did it for himself, not for the Grisha. So it's like, what are your real motives here? You just want power. So I don't know. Like, it could have been beneficial, but I don't know.
But to that point where he just wants power, I feel like having his point of view would have been helpful. It would have been like a Cersei type of thing, where, you know, Cersei, she's not a good person, but like you understand her motives. Whereas the Darkling, you only understand the motives through Alina. And if he could have explained it himself, it may have made him not a better person. He's not a good person, but like it may have just made him more interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because it really, yeah, I think from Alina's point of view, I think she just misinterprets everything and she thinks what she wants. And so she wanted to believe that he was interested in her for real. And so we got that, which I think contributed to there being Darkling stands and them shipping the two. But yeah, I think it probably would have been a lot more understandable from his point of view if we like didn't think this ancient old man was trying to hook up with a child.
Do you think Mal's perspective would have also made us like not?
No.
No.
I would have DNF'd the book if there was a Mal perspective.
This is just straight up a Mal hate stream at this point.
I apologize if there are any Mal stands, but I don't get it. I don't get it. And I also just don't like the trope of friends to lovers anyway. So just
no,
I hate it. Okay, to be fair, I don't think I've ever seen a friends to lovers where it's well done. I feel like a lot of times it's always one person is secretly pining for the other, and then one of them feels entitled to the other. Like I felt like Mal literally ignored her their entire lives, but then when she's removed, he finally has these feelings, which like I understand how that can happen, but you've literally been flaunting the other girls that you're sleeping with in front of her, and she's just taking it and not saying anything. But you see her with the Darkling for the first time, and you like lose your shit because in the first conversation they have after that, they were separated, he's like flying off the handle and losing his shit. And it's like, well, you suddenly have these feelings, but instead of telling her, you start an argument with her because she's no longer sickly. Like she's finally not suppressing the power that she suppressed so that she could stay with you. And that's how you respond. Like, and then when like Nikolai is, you know, throwing his proposal around, and at one point he says something like, what color kefta do you want to wear? What about black? And he's like, Mal is like, no black. And he like gets up and storms off. And it's like, first of all, Elena can speak for herself. Second of all, nobody asked you. So I don't think that having his perspective would have changed my feelings for him. I feel like he still would have been a whiny little bitch.
That's what it boils down to. Yeah. He was just, if he still would have been whiny. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked Mal if they hadn't have tried to make this like a romantic relationship. And this had just been like, I'm here for you because we've always been friends and I love you like my best friend or like a sister or something. And I'm going to protect you till the end. And he still could have hated the Darkling for being a creepy dude.
Manipulator.
Yeah. But it didn't have to be romantic at all. Ugh.
That's fair.
But I think it does have to do with his jealousy for it, because that's what it feels like, right? Because he sees them like, he sees Alina and Nikolai, and then Alina and the Darkling kind of like, he knows they're close. And then I think it's in Siege and Storm that he gets into this fight and then he makes out with Zoya. And I'm like, what was the reason for all of this? Why?
Yeah. Because then, like, that part, and, you know, Zoya was, like, a bitch about it, like, oh, didn't see you there. And I'm like, come on now. Like, all of this is unnecessary. Speaking
honestly, reading Zoya in the Grisha trilogy, I was like, I have no idea how the hell she's going to be redeemed in King of Scars, because I just don't see it. She was just so frustrating, because she was just, it was girl hate personified.
Yes.
Well, I agree. You know why that is.
Yeah, I feel like Zoya and Alina and Shadow and Bone is the most aggressive form of girl hate that I've probably ever seen. And it's weird because I like disliked her so much because I was like, you are being fucking ridiculous right now. But then I actually kind of like her in King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, which is like weird. I finished King of Scars and I was like, do I like Zoya? No, I don't.
So I was going through my notes, and during Siege and Storm, I was like, I feel like Zoya needs her own kind of book. Like, she needs her own moment to shine. I liked her. And I feel like the girl on girl hate, is because she really had these secret feelings for Alina, and they just couldn't they couldn't be together. And that's really where this all this pent-up anger came from. Not the best way to go about it with your crush. Don't do that. But
I actually saw a TikTok that was like characters that definitely boned behind the scenes, and one of them was like Alina and Zoya. I'm like, I guess we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
Okay, we will not spoil, but yeah, I like her. I like her. I don't know.
She got backstory, but it wasn't like trying too hard backstory.
Yeah, it was really interesting to learn about her. Like, I was genuinely interested in her backstory. Like, still doesn't excuse any of the things she did in Shadow and Bone, but I feel I don't know if I would call it redemption, but I definitely think she's a better character in the King of Scars duology, which I was not expecting at all. I was like, oh my God, I actually like her now.
Who would you say is your favorite character from the just the Grisha trilogy? Like, who did you really actually like and resonate with?
Genya.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Nikolai because he didn't get like enough page time, but Genya, I really liked her.
I would say Genya for the entire Shadow and Bone trilogy, but if we were talking about Siege and Storm specifically, it's definitely Nikolai.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robin, are you on the same page then?
Yeah. I mean, the number of characters are kind of limited. So, I mean, it's not going to be the Darkling. It's not going to be Mal or Alina.
Yeah.
I mean, I was rooting for Alina the whole time. I really wanted her to come, to step into her bad bitchness, and it just never came. But so Genya, I mean, if we're not choosing Nikolai, because he was kind of a real super secondary character, but
yeah, we stand Nikolai 100%. I love that your husband loves Nikolai.
Yeah.
Yes. And he has his flaws, but like he's just like a genuinely great character. Like she did a really great job writing him.
I gotta say, if everyone likes Nikolai, you guys have to read The Lies of Locke Lamora and that whole series, because it is literally about like Nikolai in this like Renaissance era Venice inspired city. And it is about just this like character that's a leader of a band of thieves, pulling heists, being sarcastic. He's got this like reputation that he like steals from the rich to give to the poor, and he's like, no, I steal from the rich for myself, because who else am I going to steal from? And like literally makes me think of Nikolai. So if anyone like listening loves Nikolai, you guys have to try this series out. Like it's so perfect for fans of Nikolai. Just want to plug that in case you're missing Nikolai like I am.
That's great to know. Also, if you
picking it up.
Yeah, I know. Like now I'm super interested. If you guys are fans of like just getting info on everything that's happening Shadow and Bone right now in relation to the show, you should definitely follow Reads with Rachel. She has like reaction videos with her and her husband, which are super cute. I love when her husband is in her videos. And she did a breakdown of the full length Shadow and Bone trailer that we got the day Rule of Wolves came out. Well, it was like leaked the night before, but so it's really, really good.
Same.
Right?
That's fair. I don't know if I really ship Alina and Nikolai. I think out of her three options, yeah, or like no one. But I do. There's a plot line in Rule of Wolves and King of Scars that I actually didn't hate. So
I'm trying to think which one you're talking about.
Okay, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Any other thoughts on the Grisha trilogy?
I mean, besides the fact that it should have ended completely differently. No.
If you could just kill off both of your main characters here, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I will say, when it comes to like the ending of a trilogy, it wasn't completely unsatisfying. Like, I've read a lot worse where like you really like you screwed over like more fans. I feel like this one wasn't the worst.
I thought it was a satisfying ending, even though, you know, Mal was still alive.
I was not satisfied because of like the mercy and redemption that we tried to give the Darkling at the very, very end.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I hate that.
And I was just like, at the end, he was like, he wanted to be humanized, and Elena was like, well, what's your name? And I was like, who gives a fuck what his name is? He just killed all these people.
Like this man terrorized all of Ravka for years, and you want to know his fucking name?
Yeah. And then it's like, and then Mal and Elena go off into the sunset to live at the orphanage.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be more of a humanizing moment for Alina, probably, to show that like she's grown and like she's past this like I don't want to call it like hateful, but she had a lot of like anger, like pent up anger and like impulse issues. So I think it was supposed to show that like she was trying to be like a good person, maybe. Like I think it was supposed to be for Alina, but it really just worked like against that and just made the Darkling look good for no reason.
Yeah, I felt like it was unnecessary. And like, I get that, you know, Alina's this wholesome person and it's something that she would do, but like this man literally manipulated you to no end, cornered you in a dark room, and like, no. Maybe I'm just like really petty because I don't forgive people, but I just felt like it was unnecessary.
I mean, you're not really supposed to forgive murderers. I think that's where most people draw the line.
And that's a good point. Bagra thought he was hopeless too. So, well. Definitely reread it and see if you feel the same way, because I definitely did not.
It's a bit of a mess.
Just a little bit.
There's just so many weird, and I found this across of all of Leigh Bardugo's books that I've ever read, because at this point I've read all of them, and she just like, I don't know if you guys have seen that TikTok where it's like point A to point B, but then someone goes like,
oh yeah, and it's like
all these like weird side plots and twists, and like, was this necessary to include? Why are we going here? Like sometimes I remember the whole beginning of Siege and Storm. It went by so fast. I'm like, boom, they're on a boat. Boom, they're hunting the dragon. First of all, there's a sea dragon that's like, why didn't we hear about this before? Oh, all of a sudden they've captured the stupid thing. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, I read it and I was like, did I miss pages? Did I skip paragraphs? Like, there are details missing from this. She's not the best at writing battle and fight scenes, I've realized.
No, she's
just
not.
All over the place.
It's forgettable.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know if it's because we got more perspectives in Six of Crows and like more relatable characters, but like everyone seems to love Six of Crows a lot more, and like it seems to be pretty much a consensus.
So far I only know one person who enjoys the trilogy more than Six of Crows, and I was like, but why? And also, they were a Darkling stan too, and I was like, okay.
Are they okay?
I was like, what? But okay, you know, to each their own. He did rip his mother's eyeballs out. Probably not the best. Not the best.
But then we like Kaz, who ripped another man's eyeballs out.
Okay, let's make sure we talk about that, because I have a story. Yeah, well, now it is. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Do we want to save most of our talk for the TV show for the end, or okay?
Yeah, let's go through the books first, and then.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to know how much we should be derailing from the books.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I mean it's okay. It's not. My double standard.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Kaz is just different, you know?
Kaz is built different. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't realize I was coming for everybody.
We need therapy.
Okay, do we want to talk about Six of Crows now?
Always.
Yes, anytime, right? I think out of all of the world of the Grisha, Six of Crows is definitely my favorite, which is interesting because I did really love the magic system and being introduced to it in Shadow and Bone. And we don't get so much of it in Six of Crows, but I still just, I don't know. I think it's the characters. I just love them so much. I just love all of them. And this book actually made me realize that I like found family trope. So that's one trope that I can't say I do like.
I would say Six of Crows, I think, is my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, you do get like introduced to the world in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but the writing just really makes the Six of Crows duology much better.
The vibes in Ketterdam are just like fantastic.
Right? Rachel, we know. Nina is your wife. We know. And I think you said Zoya is your husband's other wife. A literal dump full of criminals. Probably says a lot about us. I don't know.
I think it's because it's just so well written and it just sounds like a yeah, honestly.
I love her. She is the best. I think in Six of Crows, Inej is definitely my favorite character. I love everything about her. So did I.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's less featured and like it's a bit more like because Nina's a heartrender, it just kind of focuses on her and you're like, okay, makes sense. She can make people drop dead. Great.
Awesome.
Moving on.
Yeah, and then we find out that Jesper is a fabricator, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. And I like that gave a different perspective of Grisha too. Like some people chose to actually hide it, where like in Ravka, most people are sent to the little palace. It's interesting to see how people deal with it differently in different countries in this world. I thought that was kind of a really nice touch.
Because that actually reminds me that Tolia and Tamar hid it because I believe they were born their shoe, and Shu is where they're being experimented on. So that was interesting.
And you gotta look into like how other countries are treating the Grisha. So we got to like see how what the Shu were doing with the Grisha and what the Fjordans, what they were doing. So it was like, you get this picture that Grisha are like treated well, kind of in Ravka, like, but like in other places, like you guys are hunted and killed and experimented on. And so you really got to see that in Six of Crows.
Yeah.
Wait. I find it interesting that some people like Crooked Kingdom more than Six of Crows because that's what I expected going in.
I think it's really interesting because I thought that I rated Crooked Kingdom at least 1 star, like less than I rated which book are we? Six of Crows. But then like if you go on Goodreads, Crooked Kingdom is like so highly rated. Most people love it so much. And I was like, but I feel like in Six of Crows, there's like a plot, like we're on the heist and there are a few different things going on, but like the heist is the mission. And then I feel like in Crooked Kingdom, there's so many different things going on. Like I was still interested in everything going on, but like there's like romance between Wylan and Jesper. Jesper's dad is here. Wylan finds out that his mom is still alive. And then Matthias and Nina are doing their thing. And then Inej is gone and Kaz is trying to find her. And I'm like, there's so much happening. And it just
that weird assassin pops up. And then there's like the Kev guard or whatever. Like,
I felt like there's all about that assassin.
Oh, Dunyasha?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bitch. I hated her.
It's just like unnecessary. Like there was just, and you know what's really funny? I saw a review the other day, and this was coming from like an adult fantasy YouTuber. So like they kind of had different perspectives on young adult fantasy because they don't read as much. But they were like, yeah, the whole time I was reading Six of Crows, it felt like a setup, and I'm like, baby, that could have been a standalone. It was fine. Yeah. I'm sorry, that was like not set up in my opinion. You had a whole like setup, heist, execution, and like you were done, except
Right.
for like the end.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot better executed as plot.
I thought so too. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't remember that." Yeah, we reread these, like literally just finished Rule of Wolves a couple of days ago, so like this is all fresh for us. Another thing that I really liked in Six of Crows was the friendship between Nina and Inej, especially since they're like the only girls in the gang. Like, I just love that there was like none of that girl hate bullshit between the two of them. And both of them are like really badass in their own way. So I really liked the two of them together.
That was a well-written dynamic.
I agree. Another thing about Six of Crows is that you literally have three different sort of like relationships going on, like three different romances, and I honestly didn't hate any of them, which is surprising for me. I think though, because like they were like subplots and like never the main focus, and like yeah, we had scenes with them, but like it didn't like veer off from everything else that was going on, so I appreciated that. But also I just love all the well, I didn't like Matthias that much, but I love all the other characters. So
I love Matthias.
Why did you love him?
I felt like he had a lot of potential when I read Six of Crows, because I was like, it's not like they rescued him from, was it Hell's Gate? Is that the name of the prison? Yeah. Anyways, I feel like it's not like they rescued him and then he was like, oh yeah, I'm in, this is great. I'm just gonna forget everything I learned and go with you guys. He was kind of sussing it out. He wasn't really on board. You could tell he was dealing with a lot of like internal conflict, but like he was still kind of dragged along because he was kind of figuring out what he was doing as he was going along, because he was like kind of thinking like, oh, once I get to Fjorda, maybe I'll just fucking snitch on all of them and fuck them all over. But then you saw like once he spent time with all of them and he was kind of exposed to things that were different to what he was brought up with, he was kind of slowly changing his mind. And that even continued through Crooked Kingdom. Like he wasn't completely on board with everything all the time, but he was a bit more understanding. And I personally kind of enjoyed seeing that character development. But I know a lot of people dislike him. I don't know what like your reasons are, but I know a lot of people dislike him because he's just like straight up like religious zealot, hateful. So I kind of see that, I guess. But
yeah, I think that's part of my reason for disliking him. Rachel, we're not shaming you, I promise. You and Dasha can talk about how much you love Matthias. I just felt like he like beats himself up for having feelings for Nina because she's Grisha, and I'm just like, okay, I get that you were taught to dislike Grisha and to see them as abomination and whatever the fuck, but I just really struggled with that narrative. Like I just like didn't care. I was like, dude, either you like her or you fucking don't, and obviously you do. So just deal with it and get over it. And then, I mean, you can't go back to the Drusilla anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I was pissed at the one point where I thought he like turned on Nina. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But then he went and rescued her. So I was like, all right, I'll give you a little, I forgive you.
Yeah.
He definitely grew. There was a lot of, he was probably the most developed character in Six of Crows. I will definitely give him that. I just, at the beginning of oh God, I hated him. Like every time we got his point of view, I was just like, no, not again.
I don't hate him, but I just did not care enough for him to like want to read anything about him. And then like, I liked Nina all on her own. I didn't need her like with Matthias. So also that I didn't care about. So every time I just got his point of view, I was just like, oh, again, he's still here.
Same. But like I can definitely see why people do like him, and yeah, there was a lot of character development there. But it just still annoyed me so much how every time he like thought about kissing Nina or like enjoying how she looked, he like in the back of his head is like yelling at himself, and I'm like, bro, just let it go.
I think because we read the whole entirety of the GrishaVerse, we did get a bit of more insight into Fjorda. So for me, like reading King of Scars and Rule of Wolves gave me even more insight into kind of their culture, because before it was kind of like just this like looming threat, or there was just like the Drusilla that we really got insight into, but I feel like once we got to know their culture too, and like they're super conservative, their women are supposed to be like subservient, they're supposed to be really quiet and demure. So like when you kind of see that, and like it's not just how he was like trained, but like that's how he lived, it kind of makes a bit more sense to me. But like I see that he's the least interesting of the crows, I will say, but I still like him.
And I did like learning more about like what Fjordan customs are like, and how Nina was like the complete opposite of that, and yet he still managed to fall in love with her, which I did like. But at the same time, like the whole like women should be quiet and subservient, and I was like, oh, fuck that.
Do you think that Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and like maybe all the other Grisha books going forward, would benefit from being kind of classified as adult and like taken a step further to really be adult? Because I've seen that before. I've seen people say like it's dark enough that you could technically like age all the characters up and just make it adult, just go all the way there. So like, what do you guys think?
I think it could have, actually, especially with like some of the things that they deal with and some of the things that they see, like especially like with Inej's backstory. Like well, most of it is told like through memory, but like I think that actually could have worked as an adult series. He was raised in a cult. That's fair. That's fair. It's definitely not his fault, no. And he definitely did like, try to break away and unlearn a lot of the things that he was taught. I did like how he told Nina that like it would have been customary for him to like actually court her, and like they would have had to have supervised visits and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Although Nina is not at all the proper Fjordan woman, but okay.
You walk in and she's like naked with a plate of waffles on her. She seems like the type.
Like, yeah, I think that definitely helped change him. Yeah, it's super dark, which is that's why I thought of that first, thinking about it as an adult series. Yeah, I think that would make sense.
I mean, Kaz is like pretty depressing too. Like I was shocked when I read that.
The first time reading that through, I was like, oh shit. And then you're like, oh, the gloves make sense now. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to touch people either. Who do you think has... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, who do you think had the most interesting backstory?
I would definitely say Kaz. Only because, like, I think you get more of it. So you're really, like, in it. And Inej definitely had an interesting backstory, for sure. And I would have liked to see more of it. But, like, you figure out, like, the whole glove thing. And then, like, his whole just hate of people and why he wanted revenge on certain people. Like, in the beginning, I was just like, why do you hate these people so much? I mean, hating people in general makes sense, but like these certain people, why?
Yeah.
So for me, it was Kaz.
I didn't know
I actually really liked Wyland's.
I was going to say that too, especially in Crooked Kingdom, and finding out that his mother is not dead, which like
hearing what his dad did.
Yeah, it like that sucks for you, but I was like, oh, this is a really good storyline. Well, that's good that they're aging them up for the show.
That never made sense to me. I was reading this, I'm like, you're not 17. Stop it. You're baby.
True.
That did not make sense.
Yeah, both of them have really good. I do love Jesper. I feel like Jesper is kind of like not the most boring, but it's literally like you were supposed to be studying at the university. Just one night, it just all went downhill.
And in terms of backstory, his isn't great, but he's like the cuddly puppy character personified.
Yeah.
Like you can't help but love him, even though he like tears up your whole house.
Yep. That is accurate. That's the most accurate description of Just Forever. And I love that his dad was in the second one. The one part where he like says his full name and everybody is just like, your middle name is what?
I forgot about that. Although I didn't like the dad storyline.
No, I could have done without it. Once again, it was a book having too many plots that weren't necessary.
Yeah, and then I feel like the end of Cricket Kingdom with the auction or whatever was just like really weird. Like all these different delegations, and then the Council of Tides that wasn't actually the Council of Tides, and then he gets approached by the real council after, and I'm like, bro, somebody's gonna murder you one day.
It's super convoluted.
Yeah, I love that too.
I think that Lee Bardugo actually does do a really good job of giving the characters a lot of like real issues that people deal with. Because like we saw Zhenya in Shadow and Bone, she was a sexual assault survivor, and it wasn't like her whole personality, but it was done in a really, like in my opinion, it was done like a really tasteful way. And like Kaz does have a handicap, like you said, Rachel, but like he was still made out to be this really like fearsome and strong character in his own right. Like I think it was all handled just really well.
You all are making me nervous about reading House. Oh God, okay.
You know, it's like she writes, she has like so many ideas, and she's like, you know what, I've got to include every last thing that I think. And you know that like analogy where it's like when you walk out of the house, you should take off one accessory? That's what she should do when she writes. Just leave out one plot, and it won't be okay, but it'll be better.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know. You guys are making me not want to read this book. But I already put it on my TBR for next month, thanks to you two.
Oh, have fun.
Well, you said you own it anyway, so you might as well just read it.
Yeah. You guys are not helping at all. Now I'm like worried. I feel like I'm gonna go into this like expecting like it to be like that TikTok from point A to point B, and then there's really different things thrown in for no reason. God. Who is your favorite Six of Crows character?
It's Kaz. Hands down. Let me tell you, he plucked out a man's eyeballs, and I was like, sold. And then he threatened a little girl. Like, he was like, if you don't go back to sleep, those monsters, they're going to get you. And I was like, me as a parent. And I was like, this is great. I love him. And then like shit doesn't go right, but he's always ready with like the next plan. He's like, okay, this didn't work out. I'm not going to break down and crumble. We've got to keep moving. We've got to like figure shit out. And I like that. I like somebody who's ready to like just move on to the next plan.
Yeah, I do like that. And I do like how he will like withhold little droplets of information and then reveal them at exactly the right time.
And everyone's just like, Kaz, bro, you couldn't have told us this?
Right, like you could have this like 3 days ago, and we wouldn't be so surprised right now. I did listen to Six of Crows on audiobook, and I was literally like washing dishes at the part where he like rips an eyeball out, and I like stopped what I was doing, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's so graphic to like hear somebody tell you what's happening instead of reading it on page. I was like, whoa. Hold up, I have to rewind this. I need to make sure that I heard this correctly. Like,
I want to see it.
Out of this. Why, Robin?
I just think it would be really great.
Okay, Robin. I thought you were
anyways.
Group. I like if we were the Powerpuff Girls, I thought you'd be Bubbles. You're really messing up that image for me now.
I get that a lot. I get that.
Yeah, until you said that you want to see Kat rip somebody's eyeball out the socket.
I mean, I just feel like it might be maybe not a fun time for them, but like interesting to watch for sure.
It's fun for you, right?
I guess. Okay, well, Robin and Rachel, I don't know what's but all right. I want to see Inej do some like sort of desolate shit and kill somebody with her knives.
I'm like thinking because I have a feeling that there's not going to be specific like Six of Crows specifically moments. So I'm like trying to think. I'm like, what could we see in general related to the characters?
Yeah. So at this point, do you want to talk about the show? I know some people have not yet read King of Scars or Rule of Wolves, so I don't want to be the one to spoil it for you or to like make you not want to read it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that. But we can talk about the show and then we can talk about King of Scars later if that works for everyone.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna do like a super quick. I was so surprised. So I'm hosting. Like I wanted to give this book to someone, and only one person retweeted it. So like, if anyone here wants this, I'm literally gonna send it to you for free. Just go to my Twitter. I want to get this book like out of my hands and into someone's hands who might actually enjoy it. So friends, I'm doing a giveaway. It's the Indigo exclusive edition, so it's got like extra content and stuff. So if anyone wants it, I'm literally just gonna like send it to someone. Please take it off my hands.
Yeah. So if you know anybody who wants a copy of Rule of Wolves, Dasha does not want it, even though she liked the ending. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I feel so like shamed for my decision.
I'm just so surprised. Like
Yeah,
again,
me too.
if we were the Powerpuff Girls, I think one of us would be Buttercup, and sometimes it's hard to tell. Because sometimes it's definitely me, but sometimes it's you. And then Robin was like, I feel like that's a requirement for your future husband. Will you rip an eye out of the socket for me?
That is not a bad first date question.
That is a terrible first date
terrible
question,
first date
Robin.
question.
Robin, don't do it.
Literally. Follow Dasha on Twitter at Mythic Pages and retweet your tweet about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I put like I did like the like retweet follow me, but like at this point, I only had one person even like show interest. I'm like, guys, it's literally free.
Free.
Take it off my hands.
But please don't ask that on a first date. People are gonna think you're a serial killer.
Okay, well,
That's the worst thing for them to think. And never try to cross me.
If he says no, then he's
Exactly.
all right. I guess I don't even know what to say to you guys.
we're gonna
Are
quietly
you
move on.
Okay. Yeah, so I read an article that said that they like created Six of Crows backstory to have in the first season. And then in the trailer, apparently they're supposed to be going after Alina, which will be interesting because like they never meet. So I just don't know how that's gonna work.
I also read somewhere that you see this like blonde woman in the background where Kaz is like negotiating with the Million Kruger or whatever. And like someone said that that's Mina in disguise because she was talking to like the Rafkins and then she was talking to Kaz. So I'm like, I don't know how they're going to weave all that together because technically when Nina meets, but you also have shots of like Nina with Matthias and like that whole backstory. So like, how are they going to weave that together?
No clue. I don't know. I think that's what's going to be most interesting because, like, obviously the timelines of Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows don't match up. Like, Six of Crows is years after the ending of Shadow and Bone. But now that they're merging it all, like, I'm interested to see how it goes. But I'm also like, how the hell are you going to do this?
What do you guys think about the casting choices?
So, I like the diversity of the cast for sure, 100%. I think that was a great idea. Inej looks fantastic. Kaz, I'm okay with. I saw some pictures of David, which I liked. Mal is not what I expected him to look like.
He's not, but I'm not mad at it.
No, me neither.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because in my head, like when I read it, Mal is like, like muscular or whatever. But in my head, he's such a whiny bitch that I could only see him as a whiny bitch.
He has
And so
short
I don't.
guy energy.
Yes.
And then you look at the height difference between the actors and you're like, this doesn't make sense with my fantasy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's incredible.
I also like the girl who plays Zoya. I think she's very close to what I pictured in my head, minus the bangs. That was like my one thing. I was like, I don't think Zoya would have bangs, but okay.
I'm not sure I like the casting for Zhenya.
I didn't.
I'm not sure what it is exactly, but she just, I don't know. Maybe I imagined her to be like daintier.
Yeah, me too.
Is that the word I'm looking for? Like, obviously, like she's super pretty, but like she's just not what I had in mind.
Yeah, she's very pretty, but I don't know if maybe there's a fan art that I saw of Jenya and I was like, yeah, that's what she looks like. And then they casted her and I was like, she's not the fan art that I saw though. Yeah,
I like the casting for David.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker. I like him as an actor because like he was in Skins and I'm like, I'm a sucker for that show. I know it's like a terrible show, but like I have like nostalgia. So I'm actually like really.
I'm on the fence about Bagra.
I feel like if she had more wrinkles in her, I don't know. She's just like, she looks younger than this ancient woman is supposed to be. And I'm just like, what? Aren't you like
looks like your bitchy southern aunt?
Right? Because of the I know the Darkling kind of looks young too, but I feel like the way that Bagra is described is like she's like old and hunched and wrinkly and mean. And I feel like Bagra looks nice. And I'm like, what is this?
Cast is well cast.
Yeah, Nina could have been more plus size. I agree with that.
She is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what like kind of didn't match up with me because the stills we saw of Zhenya kind of looked very like I don't know, like I don't want to say modern, but she looked I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but it just doesn't seem. I hope that she just like embodies her as a character.
Yeah.
Like on screen because just the stills I'm not sold. I like Ben Barnes as a Darkling though. I didn't think I would, but when I saw the trailers, I was kind of into it.
In the trailer, I thought so too. It's just funny though because I feel like I can't really think of him as anything other than Prince Caspian from the Narnia series. He's gonna.
I never watched it.
Oh really? I don't even know. No, I did. I did. But like that's just the first thing I know. Maybe the funny thing is I'm pretty sure my dad took me to the theater to see it. Like we went to the movies because he bought me like the bind up of the Chronicles of Narnia and I was like, I don't want this. But I tried to read them anyway and I just like couldn't get through them. But then we went to see Prince Caspian and I know I saw it. I know I did. I can't tell you a single thing about that fucking movie. I don't know anything. But yeah, people are just gonna like Ben Barnes, so they're gonna like the Darkling, which is, I mean, fine, I guess. Yeah.
It doesn't look like they put any on her though, from the like clips we saw.
It looks like she's an old woman who moisturizes.
He's in. Oh my god.
Is he?
Picture of Dorian Gray is one of my favorite books of all time.
I haven't read it, but it does sound really interesting. I might have to add that to my list.
Well, okay. I'm gonna watch it because Ben Barnes is kind of hot.
He is, especially now that he's older and has facial hair instead of his little clean-shaven Prince Caspian days.
We love facial hair in this house.
100%. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. One thing about the Darkling. So in the show, he's being referred to as General Kerrigan, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because that's a character in King of Scars. And so are they just like getting rid of that character altogether, or is that supposed to mean something?
But in Rule of Wolves, it's mentioned that General Kerrigan was one of the Darkling's names from like when he had a bunch of different names.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's just
So I think it's maybe just, I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be like a popular surname in Ravka, maybe.
no.
I don't know.
You're right.
I noticed that too. I was kind of surprised, but then yeah, when I got to that part in Rule of Wolves, I'm like, I guess maybe because Bardugo was on the show's cast, like she was just show's cast. She was like on the show's production. She was maybe just kind of going with that lore. But it's weird because it's not in Shadow and Bone, and I thought that they were at least going with the canon from that trilogy.
Yeah, so because like in Shadow and Bone, his other name is what, the Black Heretic or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's that's a good point. Thank God the man. Oh yeah, has anybody else read that? The Demon in the Wood is like a little novella about the Darkling. And I read it like the very first time I read Shadow and Bone, but that was like forever ago. And I didn't reread it this time around because I didn't care.
Is it one of those like bonus material in the books?
It might be. It might be. I know we have the one about Jenya, and there's a letter from Mal to Alina that I never read. And then I don't know, Ruin and Rising. It might just be like a sneak peek of Six of Crows. I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it's just one of his names, but that's still weird. They have like another. I was like, why are these people with the same name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it like a bind up? Is there a bind up of all the novellas? Because that's cool. I think I got all of them like on Kindle the first time because they were all like $1. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll read that. I did really like Jenya's novella though, because it was nice to get her perspective. I feel like she is the one character that I wish we got a perspective from. But it was kind of about like how she burned all of the letters that Alina wrote to Mal instead of actually sending them because she asked the Darkling what to do. So yeah.
I mean, if I had to read those, I'd burn them too.
You're not wrong.
Because fuck Mal at this point. Do you think that, because like we've seen some stills and it's like, I don't know how to feel yet because we've gotten just very like character focused skills and like stills, and like the bit of action shots we got in the fold looked kind of cool, but I'm worried that like, I don't know, I have this like weird irrational fear that they're gonna make it look super like cheap with the CGI because there's kind of potential for that, like with all like the powers and like the Grisha have to use their hands for everything. So I'm like, I hope it's not gonna be cheesy.
I like when I first saw Alina, like the light, I was like, that's definitely not like how I imagined in my head, but okay, I'll rock with it. Like we'll see. And then like when she's doing it with Bagra, I think it looks cool. And the part where she touches the stag and it kind of like she's like kind of starts to illuminate. I like that part, but I don't know. I don't know. I think we have to see how everything works because like how is Jenya tailoring her? Like, what's that gonna look like? Is it gonna look good?
I feel like there's potential for like either really cringy and kind of like what was the one? I think it was like the Shadowhunters show that everyone like gave so much shit to because it was just like like low rent, like just really bad.
I mean, I have hopes. I don't have high hopes, but I have hopes because the Vulgar looked kind of cool. Like in my head, that's what they look like, and they didn't like scare me, but they frightened me maybe a little bit. So there's hope that it won't look like complete shit.
But then I already saw I saw everyone roasting Kaz's hat, which like I didn't even think was that bad, but like everyone was just roasting the shit out of it, and I was like, what if they keep making just bad decisions like that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very possible.
The Language of Thorns. I'll have to read that. I kind of want to read the
Love of the Saints.
Yeah, I kind of want to read that one too. He's Ursula's brother. Okay. That's weird.
I feel like we're missing something.
I'm so, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to pick that up. He's old as fuck. He is. Throwing all their money at this. I hope so. It looks like they had a really high budget, so
it didn't stop them from making Zoya racist. Let's
yes, let's talk
well,
about it.
You know, racism is free, so
oh yeah, it doesn't cost much to do that. I feel like it's so unnecessary to do because like everybody was so excited about the diversity of the cast and how all of that was working out. And then they're like, oh, on top of the immense girl hate that we have between these two, yeah, let's make her racist because that, and then like it doesn't make sense because of what we find out about Zoya's parentage. And it's like, well, how is that supposed to fucking make sense?
And did you see that quote that he's like, oh, no, I think it was the actress that plays Zoya was like, well, yeah, they basically said that like since Zoya as a character understands racism, she knows how much those comments hurt. I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure if you understand it, you're not going to be inflicting it onto other people.
That's me being racist to Robin. Like, what? That literally makes no fucking sense. So yeah, there is an article. I can find it. There are some tweets too. I can find and I'll post them on my Twitter. But yeah, they decided to make Zoya racist. So she's going to have some disgusting comments towards Alina, I'm sure. Why they would add that, I have no fucking clue.
I don't even think the series doesn't even have that much like racism between the existing countries. There's a little bit I noticed in Rule of Wolves that Zoya was talking about. But for the most part, when the countries are like at odds and like the different cultures are at odds, it's really the cultures. No one's being, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of racism in this world. So why would you add it in? Like, it's not like spice. It's not, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
And and it's like, okay, like obviously, like as a Black woman, I understand racism. I've dealt with it, whatever. But like, if I'm reading a fucking fantasy book, maybe I don't want that. Like, maybe I just want to do magic shit. Like, why are you ruining this part? And it, like, I'm just so annoyed, especially because Zoya is also biracial, and I'm like, that doesn't fucking make sense. Nobody would do that. Nobody who has been hurt by racism turns around and uses it on other people. That's literally not how the fuck that works.
Well, you can be a self-hating person and like spew racist stuff towards somebody else.
But it wasn't even in the book.
It's
like,
not in the book.
Why would you go through the trouble
of adding
it? Exactly. Like it serves no purpose because Zoya does have her own character arc. There's absolutely no need.
The thing about the books is that there's already so many like points that they're trying to make, like without getting into like spoilers and stuff, you know, like there's like trans rep later on and and other stuff, and it's like you don't need to add just to add more like what's a hot topic right now, you know what, racism, let's add that.
Yeah, it's like we haven't been dealing with that enough right now, especially in the States. Like, yeah, just go ahead and add it to the show that we're all so fucking highly anticipating and ready to enjoy, and then you fucking ruin it like that.
In this fantasy land that doesn't seem to have it, because it seems like, I mean, I might be like reading it wrong, but it seems like the Grisha are kind of the group and the Suli are kind of the group that's like discriminated against. Everyone has different perceptions of them. So like when you're talking about discrimination in this world, it seems like that's where it kind of lies. So like, why would you add more layers to it?
And the thing about that is like, Grisha can be born in any country. So while the Grisha are discriminated against, like there's really no racial motivation behind it, which I liked that part because it was so interesting to see, as you said earlier, how all of the different countries feel and think about Grisha. And it's just like, why do this? I don't understand. I was so pissed when I saw that tweet. Somebody was like, somebody had tweeted something about like how badass the women in the GrishaVerse are. And then somebody was like, you know what's not badass is pitting women against each other and making Zoya racist. And I was like, excuse me? She's what? And somebody was like, yeah, they decided to add that for the show. And then I found the quote from the actress and I was like, okay, you guys fucked this up.
I don't understand it. I don't know if they couldn't make her like, I don't know if they were like, they couldn't make her hateable enough. And they thought that was like.
Zoya's plenty hateable.
I thought so. I couldn't stand her.
I don't know. I feel like that was a bad decision, but
yeah,
I guess we'll have to see how it plays out now.
I'm
Don't you
also
just?
sad we're not getting Nikolai or Wylan.
Oh, I know. I want Nick. I'm gonna be upset if I don't like the casting for Nikolai.
I know.
It's gonna be hard to please, I think, because I think a lot of people have like Nikolai like in their hearts.
I would actually love to have a conversation with someone who hates Nikolai because I'd be like, why? Like you have no valid reason. I don't believe it. I can't
Those
see
people exist.
I haven't come across any.
Me neither, but I feel like they gotta exist somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually. Same.
Honestly, though, like with the crows, I don't even think we mentioned it. Like Jasper's casting is fucking insane. I think he's fan. I think he like embodies him. Like the clips we've seen, where also like all the crows look great.
I have seen some people complain that Jesper's skin is supposed to be darker, which technically is true. And I believe the actor who plays him is actually biracial. So there was some controversy there, but I do think he's going to do a good job. I like the clips that we gotten of him so far.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's definitely going to give us that typical Jesper, kind of unresponsible, little bit of the fuck up of the group vibe. So we'll see.
I thought he had like the right swagger. I don't remember like how he was described in the book, so maybe I'm remembering it wrong, like 100%. But I thought like based on his vibes, like his grin, I was like, dude, like this works for me. Like I thought it was great.
Yeah, I've seen some people complain about it, but like I feel like he was definitely described as dark skinned at one point, but that was probably in like the very first perspective that we get from him.
The whole cast seems so excited.
Yeah, I love that. That's good. I haven't watched any like cast interviews.
Me neither, but like you see them all like sharing stuff on Instagram and like anytime. I remember when the show was announced and there was that like video of the cast talking and like doing like selfie videos and like talking about it. Everyone looked so stoked. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is kind of, I'm intrigued.
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they better pick the perfect person for Nikolai. I don't know who that is, but they need to find him. I'm gonna be so pissed if Nikolai isn't perfect.
Was there anyone that you had fan cast before? Like for like any of the other characters?
No.
I don't think I really thought about it.
No, okay, me neither.
I honestly, I feel like the announcement was made like late 2017, early 2018. And I feel like I've been waiting this whole time. Like as soon as I found out that it had been optioned for Netflix, I've just been waiting. And like, you know how I do like my end of the year tag? Since like 2018, my answer has been Shadow and Bone. So I'm just glad that it's finally freaking here. I can't wait to see it. But I don't know. I have like mixed feelings because when we got like the trailer, like the teaser trailer with just the stag and the crow, I was like, that was literally nothing, but I'm so excited. And then I don't know. I think I got less excited with the second trailer because I was just like, oh, I don't know how they're going to make all of the actual summoning look good.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm still excited either way. I don't like Zoya's summoning. I know we have that little flicker of her hand in the trailer, but like when she summons lightning, like what is that going to look like? Because the way I picture it, it's badass. But that's because it's my imagination. So I need them to make sure that it's that good.
All right. Do you think we should switch on to King of Scars and Rule of Wolves? I feel like because we didn't talk about it much in the chat, we're gonna have some feelings.
Oh, you've got explaining to do.
Yeah.
If anyone has not yet read King of Scars or Rule of Wolves, feel free to head out. We do not want to spoil it for you. But definitely let us know when you read it and how you feel about it because we definitely have some thoughts.
Have a good night, Rachel.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. King of
I feel like I'm being put on the spot.
Okay, not
No,
yet.
we won't do it yet because we have to talk about King of Scars before we get into like your
The sequel.
fuckery of a response.
Okay. King of Scars. Let me just say that, like, I talked about this book in a 5-star prediction video, and I was so ready for it. And I was like, I am going to love this. It's going to be so good. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Let us know when you read King of Scars. I was like, I'm going to love it. We're going to get so much of Nikolai, and he's my favorite, so I'm going to love it so much. And then
Nina.
Okay, yes, I do love Nina. I do love Nina. However, I was not a fan of the way that she was like having conversations with Matthias in her head, and I thought that was so fucking weird. And I was like,
But
okay,
we were anticipating, right? Like, because you knew it was going to be her too, right? Like,
so originally I thought it was going to be Nikolai and Nina, and then I found out Zoya was thrown in, and I was like, but I love Nina. So yeah, I was really excited about that too. But then I started reading her and I was like, why are you talking to dead people? This is not Sixth Sense. Can you please stop? I'm creeped out. And then I just felt like we didn't get enough Nikolai. And then it got to the part where they get kidnapped by fucking saints. And I was like, what is happening? and then we get to the end and Darkling is back. And I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you do this?
So for something that was like known as the Nikolai duology, he was the most secondary character in the whole book. I was just
hold on.
It makes no sense.
Sorry, just a quick thing though. If you go on Goodreads now, it doesn't say Nikolai duology anymore. It just says King of Scars duology.
Okay, I'm not the only one that caught that. I definitely thought it was Nikolai duology at some point.
It definitely was, but it's been changed, which like
wasn't that some bullshit?
I write notes in my phone for most books that I read when I don't want to like write it in the book or I'm reading like on my iPad. Literally, King of Scars just says, "Damn, I kind of don't care." Because I was like, I don't. None of this. Like, Nikolai became whiny. Of all people, Nikolai was being whiny. I'm like, no, not you two, please.
That's fair. That's fair. She's just got a thing for whiny characters.
There was no point to him being whiny. He was like such a good, and like for me, it fixed itself in Rule of Wolves. He wasn't as bad, but for, like King of Scars, for some reason, he just wasn't himself. We didn't get a lot of him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the whole demon thing. I don't know if it's because he was like stressed out, but I'm like, we get all this backstory of you being in the military. You're studying in Ketterdam University. You're Sturmhorn. There's all this crazy stuff, and you're supposed to have dealt with all of it. And now you're being kind of mopey and not sure of yourself. Like,
do you think?
And he's like pining after Zoya, who's like, we didn't need this.
I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't mind it.
I didn't end up minding it, but in the beginning, I was just like, wait, this isn't what I came for. But I mean, towards the end, I was like, I kind of love this.
I feel like Nikolai and Zoya was like the forced proximity type thing. Like they're just always together because they have to be. So I feel like maybe that was why. Can we talk about Nikolai's demon thing? Monster, whatever the fuck it is.
I wish they just laid the Darkling to rest at the end of Ring Rising and just left him there. Just leave him there.
Right?
There's enough going on.
Yeah, I feel like even without him having the, like monster living inside of him thing, I feel like it could have been better even maybe because then we get into the other Darkling plots and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like we literally watched this man burn. Why are you resurrecting him?
I like the subplot of the cult rising up around him because I feel like that's fairly realistic in this world where people do revere like these really powerful people. I feel like that was actually kind of cool because I mean, I'm a sucker. Anytime a fantasy plot has like a political and religious conflict, I'm like, oh yes, I love it. I love it. So like I was kind of here for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like actually came back.
Like the what do they call it? The cult of the Starless One or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fine. Like, you know, especially because that's basically how Alina gained her sainthood too. So like, yeah, that totally makes sense. But the whole resurrection part, I was like, this was unfucking necessary. Nobody wants this man back. And I feel like she gave him sort of a redemption arc that nobody asked for. And I was just like, nobody gives a fuck about the Darkling anymore.
I don't feel like he got a redemption arc. I just think that it was his arc was super anticlimactic. I don't know if we want to get into Rule of Wolves yet.
You can.
But like, I thought it went nowhere. It went nowhere.
I feel like that one part where they're in battle and Nikolai's demon is having a hard time because of the sound that the Fjordans are making. And so the Darkling sends some of his shadows to assist. That part, and then like at the very end where he volunteers himself to stay at the place that'll stop the fold from expanding, I feel like that was supposed to be his redemption. And I was like, no, nobody wants this. Nobody cares. He's supposed to be dead. Why the fuck did you bring him back?
But the whole time, you know that he's doing it because he wants to be remembered and he wants to be like the savior of Bravka and like all this stuff. But like him volunteering to stop the fold from expanding, I'm like, it didn't need to expand in the first place. This didn't need to happen. That was just unnecessary.
Also, that's kind of contradictory because he expanded the fold in Shadow and Bone purposely. Like now it's just contradicting.
Yeah, that went nowhere. That whole plot was like, because like he was shaping up to like with all his cult, he's like, we're gonna go to the front lines of battle and I'm gonna stage this big like coming back. And then it was just like return. That's the word I'm looking for. And then it was just like
yeah.
And then they quietly all went.
Yeah, right. Okay, Rach. I didn't know you hadn't read it yet. I'm actually surprised that you and Carlos haven't read it yet.
Did we just spoil the whole thing for her?
No, I think she jumped out already.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if not. So sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin this for anyone. I feel like this is an experience you should definitely have.
So Nina, adore her, but I struggled with the fact that she basically like throughout this entire duology and moving forward has erased her identity. And I know why she's doing it, and that totally commendable. But I just like I loved Nina because she was Nina. And I feel like her pretending to be a Fjordan woman has taken a lot of that away from her. And I know that she can now be herself with Hana or Rasmus, I guess now as the prince. But I don't know. I didn't like that she wasn't what we got of her in Six of Crows when she was just like super in your face, loud, doesn't give a fuck, no manners, all of that. Like, I feel like that's why I love Nina. And I feel like we kind of got that taken away a little bit.
Got shortchanged for that,
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, but I feel like at the same time, when you saw like Zoya talking about Nina, like she always talked about how Nina was able to like, when she was on missions, she's able to just like slip into anyone else's skin. And like, that's what she's best at. She's really good at this kind of stuff. And Nina still took a lot of really like impulsive decisions that were selfless. And like, she really did try to balance like her feelings versus her mission versus like saving other people. So I thought it was kind of interesting to get that side because we did hear about Nina being on all these like undercover missions, but we never got to experience it until now. So I did actually really like that. And I actually found her storyline like kind of fun. Like it was separate, but it was still like vaguely linked to Nikolai and Zoya. So I thought that it was just like a refreshing, I guess, because Nikolai and Zoya were so linked.
Oh yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I get that. I found it funny that her code name was Termite. Because at first I was like, why the fuck would they? And then I was like, oh no, because termites like fuck up your entire foundation from the inside out. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
By eating the foundation.
Sounds like Nina. I also, and maybe it's just me, I felt like her romance was, I felt like it happened too fast.
It did. She was just mourning Matthias, and then all of a sudden she's like, that's kind of cute.
Like, I feel like it was like crying, like trying not to cry in public, finally buried him. Oh, look, a pretty girl. And I was like, what? Already?
Yes. That's exactly
and like you
what
could
happened.
kind of already tell where that storyline was going. Like Loki, halfway, like actually quite like near the beginning of Rule of Wolves, I'm like, is this bitch gonna die too? And like, okay, maybe that's not exactly how it happened, but like that's where we were headed for sure.
Yeah. Especially since like, you know, they start getting closer because Nina's teaching Hannah how to use her power. And I was like, this is, I was like, I don't know if this is going to end well, which makes me a little scared for Nina because I don't think that she can take losing another person. And so for that split second where I did think that Hani was dead, I was like, oh, fuck.
No, I thought that Hannah was like dead, and then I was like, oh my God, Nina's gonna like raise every single dead person from here to eternity. And it's either gonna be great or just a fucking disaster.
Another plot twist that we just didn't need.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Okay, let me just defend.
Yes, please.
The end of Rule of Wolves because I did not like King of Scars.
Same.
And I felt like I was missing something because a lot of people that I follow on BookTube really liked it. I felt like I was kind of like the odd one out, that I was like, am I being too harsh on this? Like, I know I don't read a ton of young adult fantasy anymore, so maybe I'm just like out of touch with the kids. But then, how'd you do, fellow kids? But then I got into Rule of Wolves and I was like, I can see where everything we've been through is kind of leading us towards. I love that we started getting into war like near the beginning. And I felt like we were really seeing a more, I guess, like almost like sophisticated plot line than just like everything happens and then all of a sudden big battle scene, that's it, that's all, like we're not seeing anything else. I like that there was like the retreat from the Fjordans. I like that there was actual like military tactic discussion. Maybe that's just personal because I really enjoy that kind of stuff like in real life too, but I thought it was really well done. I felt like the romance between Nikolai and Zoya was coming to a very good place because there was a lot of that kind of push and pull, like when they were in the airship and you thought that like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. It didn't happen, but like I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah.
And I like that you got the inclusion of the different plot lines with the shoe. I thought that was kind of cool. So like overall, I just thought that everything, even stuff that we've been building on since Shadow and Bone, it was all kind of coming together in a really interesting way because we saw like the king and queen of Ravka that had been exiled, right? They were kind of brought back and the apparat was still a thing. And I'm like, this is actually kind of neat how it's all coming together. I could not put the book down when I had the last 200 pages to go. I literally just like read for hours and I was like, this is fun. I don't know what else to say. So I don't know. I thought that it was good. Nikolai redeemed himself. Zoya redeemed herself. The romance was good. Everything tied up, not too neatly.
Yeah.
But it still worked for me. It went in a more like linear direction than some of the other weird things in King of Scars. And like I said, I like the military part of it. So that might influence it. But yeah, that was my case for why I enjoyed it, if that made any sense. But I'd love to hear what.
Rule of Wolves.
Oh, 3 stars still. I have a lot of issues with the beginning of it. I'm like, why did you bring Misha to meet the Darkling? That seems extremely irresponsible.
I guess something about the Darkling killing his parents. I think no, killing Bagra because he used to take care of Bagra. I feel like that was the only reason. I feel like Misha wanted to be there, which is like fine, but also you're a child and this man is super fucking dangerous. So, because at first I was like, they have a kid, and then I was like, oh, it's Misha.
But like, it still seems extremely fucking irresponsible. And again, like,
Very.
the Dark One's not supposed to be back. So like, why would you bring
Child.
a child?
A literal fucking child. Like, yeah. I definitely liked Rule of Wolves more than King of Scars. I feel like the plot made sense and there weren't like weird ass plot twists like there were in King of Scars. And I do like Zoya and Nikolai together. Oddly, I think I enjoyed Zoya's story the most. Although in both of these, first like Zoya becoming like the next fucking Avatar, like that was weird. I was like, all right, fine. But that also in Robin, we talked about this, how Juris is like, amplifiers are stupid. So he breaks hers and she's like pissed. And then he's like, kill me and make me an amplifier. What?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Just a few
chapters, a lot of this
we're bitching about how amplifiers are dumb. So now you want to be an amplifier? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, dude, that was annoying. And then when she saves Nina, jumps out the window, and I was like, did this bitch just become a fucking dragon?
She did. She became a fucking dragon. I had to reread this because I was like, is this one of those things where I missed paragraphs again? and I was like, Nina's like, oh, you're a dragon. I'm like, okay, good. I did not make this shit up. It was like, what is this? Why is this?
Also, like Nina was just like way too calm. I would have been like flailing, like what the actual. First of all, you just jumped through a window.
But I think she jumped through the wall. I think
she did.
It was like stone.
It was a wall.
Brick and shit. Like it was a wall.
So this bitch just jumping through brick. Okay, I thought it was glass. That just adds on top of it. Oh my god.
Listen, I'm not saying I didn't have to suspend disbelief, but I still liked it, and I know I'm crazy.
I liked it. I didn't hate it. I hated King of Scars. I hated it, and I'm still so sad about that, guys. Like I was so excited for King of Scars, and I feel like I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, are all Grisha just gonna be avatars from now on? Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm just so confused.
Well, now the orders mean nothing because they're all things.
Exactly.
Apparently. There was a lot of weird like logic things. The other thing I never understood, maybe I missed it in King of Scars. I understand why Hannah went along with Nina for like the beginning for certain things. Why she kept up with her and kept going along with all of her ruses. Was that ever explained? Did I miss something?
Love. That's all I got for you. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. I mean,
but it was never explained, right? Like
there was no direct explanation. I think maybe part of her being Grisha might have been like she doesn't approve of what her dad is doing, and of course, like, her dad is like the number one person that wants to kill all Grisha. Robin, I feel like Blair's doing something in the background.
Yes. Yes, and I'm just like, are you gonna stop, or do I need to like go and run and stop you before you die? He's good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess because she's Grisha, and because she's never really felt comfortable in her body. I guess like with Nina, she felt like she could be herself.
It just felt like a really quick switch up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, it was odd. I don't know. I got nothing.
That was a little weird for me.
I have a question, and maybe like I missed this somewhere in one of these books. Did they ever explain why and how they had been kidnapping a bunch of women from like the places and impregnating them?
No, and that pissed me off because when she said all of them were pregnant, and I was like, So you mean they're being assaulted by the Driscolla because
Or were they pregnant when they were kidnapped?
No, because one woman was like, "You guys keep making me get pregnant," and I was just like, "Are we going to explore this?"
Yeah.
Or are we? And then we never did.
Yep.
We never did.
I feel like the way that this ended leaves room for her if she chooses to write more. And
oh God, please no.
Oh yeah, no.
We beat this dead horse enough.
She's definitely going to write more.
I feel like that's her plan because first of all, there are rumors of a future Six of Crows part 3, like in the future type thing. And also at the end with Zoya being like, send Sturmhond to Ketterdam and tell Kaz that the Queen of Ravka has a job for him. I feel like there's room. I don't know if she's actually going to do it, but I was just like, I don't like this ending. It's too open. It's too open-ended. I don't like it. I feel like you're going to do some weird shit later, and I don't want it.
I would hate for it to become what Cassandra Clare has done and just spin-off after spin-off. And like, here's the thing. I read the entirety of the Mortal Instruments series and the first book of the Infernal Devices. And right away, I got annoyed because I saw in the Infernal Devices that characters from the Mortal Instruments were reappearing. And I'm like, that's just lazy writing. And like, I'd hate for that to happen in this kind of thing, because while in here it makes sense that some of the characters would know each other, because this happens in a fairly, like it all happens in like a close amount of time, right? Like it's not like it's centuries apart, but like Cassandra Clare started pulling characters from like all these other series in, and I'm like, this is just not necessary. And like, I would hate to see something like that happen to the GrishaVerse, because I'm like, this feels like a very good place to just close it, put it down, leave it alone.
Don't touch it. I feel like I'm satisfied with Zoya leading Ravka. I feel like I'm satisfied with her and Nikolai's romance. I'm glad that Nina has found someone again. And I think that Rasmus now is going to do a lot to help with all of the animosity between all of the countries. I mean, Kaz is still probably doing fuck shit in Ketterdam, but that's what he does. And so I feel like this is fine. And then like the way it ended though, it was just like, now there's room for a weird ass duology that has Zoya and Kaz and some other weird person's point of view. And I'm just like, please don't do it.
I actually really liked when they went back to Ketterdam though, and you saw Jesper and Wylan together. I was like,
I love it. I
like that. I did like that, but I feel like that's fine. Like, we got a follow up for Six of Crows. Captain Gaffa is like off doing her thing. Perfect. Like, Crow Club is growing. I'm like, this is good. Like, we can leave this where it is.
Right? Like, Kaz has a fucking empire now, and Nej is kicking ass and taking names, but like also probably still with Kaz, kind of. And I like it's good. Like, it's good. Like, it brought in both the trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. Everything was full circle. Cool. But I feel like she would fuck it up.
Because she is. Because she is. Like, it was just too open-ended. It was just like, there's a whole, the way the last two sentences, it was like, up, heist story. Here we go.
Another heist. Yeah.
I hope she chooses to just leave it, but like, it's got to be such a cash cow for her that.
But even
might not.
Does she need it though? Like, do you need it? Do you really? You got a trilogy and 2 duologies and a fucking Netflix show, which is gonna have
a Netflix show.
It's gonna have to go for a while because, I mean,
it's already renewed for another season.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. But like, how far are we really gonna get in season 1? There's only like 8 episodes, right? So I feel like we're gonna get to the stag, but are we gonna get to the sea whip? Probably not.
What if we just don't see the sea whip? I'd be okay with that. What if we just like leave it where it was?
What if
Well,
we like
no,
just
because
touch it?
because then you'll never get to Mal being an amplifier.
Also, like, random question, but I thought about this. I know that, like, in order to amplify someone, you have to, like, pull for their power. But how the fuck did she be able to suppress it for for 17 years? Like, I know she did it when she was tested, but, like, that whole time, if Mal was the amplifier, and the reason that she stayed was for Mal, and they literally spent almost all of their fucking time together, like, how?
Because I think you have to specifically pull it, because like there are other human amplifiers that test Grisha and they know what they're looking for. Maybe Mal didn't know what he was looking for, perhaps.
So this is weird.
I also think it's stupid, don't get me wrong. I'm just like trying to reason it.
I feel, and this is going to be weird. I feel like if Mal and Alina had gotten together sooner, her power would have come out, and it probably just would have been like super fucking weird. Like they're like hanging out or whatever, and then like all of a sudden she's fucking glowing. I feel like that would have been funny.
I feel like a lot of like these series could be summed up in like a lot of this was just plot conveniences. All this could have been solved in like a conversation or just some kind of like or just let it die. Just let them die. Like there's always something coming in to save it at the last second, or there's always something just like happening at the right moment. And I'm like, at a certain point, you kind of get fed up. And I think that's the crux of why I disliked a lot of the books in here.
Mhm.
Was because it really just came down to like literally if you had like reasoned any of this out, it just doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking hold up.
No, not at all. I don't know, man. I guess we'll see.
If
But-
there was a continuation, what would we like to see theoretically?
Inej? That's it.
Is there enough for full story though there?
I mean, okay, so no, like it couldn't just be like her. I guess we could get like a novella of her, but I guess like, yeah, in order for her to write another book, it would have to be like what she's doing out on sea, this heist that Zoya wants Kaz to go on, and I guess like her and Nikolai. So I don't know.
You know, I wouldn't mind seeing other characters in this like world. Like if we had like Inej and then she somehow goes out with like the Zemeni or something, like people from that region, that would be okay.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to continue with the same cast of characters. We can like use one person and like catapult off of that. But I don't need everybody else.
Yeah, that's a
especially
good
not Alina.
I would honestly follow Tamar and Tolia.
Yes.
Like backstory?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I grew to love them so much.
I love them so much. Oh yeah, that'd be
right.
Wait, do we get
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, do we get Tolia and Tamar in season 1?
No.
They show up later.
They'd be with
their Sturmhorn's crew.
Yeah, so that'll be
they don't show up until the sea book.
Yeah.
So maybe season 2. Okay. They better cast them well too.
Yeah. You know, I could do a backstory. Maybe not a backstory, but I could follow, what was her name? Makai?
Oh, the queen.
Yeah.
The big queen? Yeah.
Yeah, she just seems like a bitch.
Storyline was cool.
Yeah. It's really good. I actually liked it a lot.
I mean, trying to kill your sister.
Right. And
Twice?
like for no reason though, because the advisor was just like, oh, I didn't hear anything. Your sister's supposed to be the heir. Oh, no. I'm going to support you. So it was like, why do you want to be a murderer? Like,
now you're just salty because people like her.
Yeah, basically. That's true. Yeah,
that's essentially Zoya's whole problem. You're just salty because people like her.
Yep. That is 100% accurate.
Yeah. We've almost been talking for 2 hours.
I know. We can wrap up if you like. I just want to say though, my favorite scene in King of Scars was David threatening to kill Yuri for making Jenya upset.
Honestly, I liked all the David moments.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he had a notebook where he wrote down Jenya's suggestions.
Yeah. That was so cute. I'm so fucking mad they killed him. Like, that was unnecessary. And on their fucking wedding day. Okay.
And he wasn't even doing anything cool.
He doesn't. Like, if he had died during one of the battle scenes, like he was trying to like deploy one of the missiles or something, and then like some shit happened, I'd be like, all right, I accept this more. But like, he was just
Or
twiddling
he
his
was like
fucking
running
thumb.
to save Jenya or something.
Yeah.
But
But no. He was going through his notes and had ink on his fingers. And he's buried like Cersei Lannister. Like, come on now.
oh,
He deserves better.
Jenya deserved better.
She did. She really did.
She deserved happiness.
Honestly,
That poor woman.
anyone who read King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, we all deserved better.
Right. You know, when I finished King of Scars, I felt like I did at the end of reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was like, this was such a fucking waste of my time and a waste of money.
That's a good way to put it, actually. Just like a waste of my precious reading time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sad. That's so sad.
That's a positive note to end on. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't. Nope. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the show, though. Like, I am actually quite anticipating seeing how it's going to play out, how they're going to weave the storylines together.
Yeah.
If the cast is actually as good as we seem to think they are, and of course the crows. I just missing my babies.
I know, right? Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's gonna be good. I'm gonna go in with high hopes. I'm basically gonna binge the entire thing. I blocked out my weekend and told everybody to leave me alone. So we'll see. I don't know. Fingers crossed. It'll be good. It'll live up to expectations. All the summoning is gonna be super fucking badass, and we're gonna love it.
I hope so. And we are, if anyone is still watching, we are talking about doing another live show after we watch the show so we can discuss and compare and theorize about next seasons and stuff. So we will be posting once we decide on a date in case anyone is interested.
Yep, more details to come on that.
Yeah, because I think that would be really fun. Because no one else in my life is going to watch this, so I need to yell about it with some people.
I need somebody to talk to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anything else before we sign off?
I think we covered it all.
This
I
was
think
fun, ladies.
Wait, Robin,
Yes.
can we see Blair?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Oh, is he on your lap this whole time?
Yeah.
Hi. He's so
my
cute.
God. What a sweetheart. Oh my God.
What are you doing, Mom?
Yes, like I'm sleeping. Although he needs to wake up so that he can sleep through the night. So he's about to hate me.
True. All right. Well, it was great talking to you guys. Thank you so much for taking the past 2 hours to talk about this series. And I look forward to doing it again. This was so much fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks to everyone who joined in.
Yes.
It was
yes.
nice to have some other interaction too.
Yeah, I'm glad that there were like no mouse stands in the comments, not gonna lie. Well, actually, Rachel does like Mal and Alina, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Hopefully she still likes us after we shit all over them.
Good point. That's a good point. All right. This was fun. Thank you guys. Talk to you
Have a
next
good night, ladies.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.